So today I want to talk to you all about the number one safety mistake that Uber and Lyft drivers make at pickup. This is some valuable information that I want to talk to you all today about. And I want to make it clear that this is a very important topic. And if you stay to the end of this video, I'm going to give you some valuable tips that's going to help you along the way. So, okay, when we're talking about safety, there's a lot of things that people overlook as Lyft and Uber drivers. You get comfortable picking up and dropping people off. Your only concern is to complete the trip and make the money and get on to the next one. It's a lot of things that be happening that happen way before the passenger gets in the car. It's a lot of red flags that's tied to a trip that seems suspicious that a lot of drivers overlook. And those red flags can cost you dearly, may even cost you your life. Well, I'm just going to name a few things before I get to the number one mistake, safety mistake. I'm going to name a few other mistakes that a lot of drivers make that they need to work on so that they can stay safe, so they can be aware of things like their surroundings and certain things. Now, so, okay, so a mistake that a lot of drivers make is pulling, and say for you drivers that drive at nighttime, okay, pulling into a dark, dead-end street, okay? A lot of times people live in cul-de-sacs at the bottom of the street. The street is very dark. There's no lighting down there. The way that you can protect yourself in this situation is, I'm gonna give you a strategy that you can use. Is when you pull down that street, if you notice that address is down at the bottom of the street, what you do is you go down, you turn your vehicle around, and you get in the middle of the street, and you cut your high beams on. Okay? Now, you make sure that you are assessing the area. Make sure that you're looking over your shoulders, do a 360 degrees around. Make sure that it's the correct address, okay? If someone calls you talking about, hey, I'm on another street over, you're at the wrong address, but the address that you are at is what you see on the app, and they're telling you to come a street over or 2 streets over, those are not the addresses that's not on here. A lot of times they'll say, hey man, that's the wrong address in there. That's not your fault. As a driver, you can only go by what's on the phone, what's on the app, the address that you're supposed to be at. If they put the wrong address in, it's not your fault. Okay? But if someone says that's the wrong address, you're supposed to be 2 streets over, but the address that you're showing is where you're at, cancel that trip immediately. Okay? I mean, the maps be wrong sometimes, but they're not going to be that wrong. Because when a person book a trip, they put the address in there. So if they put the wrong address in there, it's not your fault. If they put the wrong drop-off location in there, it's not your fault. Okay? If someone calls you and say, hey man, you at the wrong street, I'm 2 streets over, or I'm on the next street. But the address that you're showing is where you're at. Cancel that trip, okay? Immediately. The next mistake that a lot of drivers make is they'll let multiple people approach the car at one time. So if it's a trip that has multiple riders, they'll just bombard the car from all sides, grabbing doors. You understand what I'm saying? This can be confusing. Okay? This can be confusing. And scary at the same time. Because you got all these people, grabbing doors to get in the car. Because, just multiple people. Just everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You have to slow that process down. You know what I mean? And, the way that you do that is you make sure that you look at those people to determine who booked the trip. You know what I mean? Make sure that you look at them to make sure you see who booked the trip. Okay? You got to slow that down because multiple people approaching the car, especially at nighttime, is not good. Sometimes if you're in the nightlife club area, there'll be multiple people who want to get a ride from one place to the next, and a lot of them will grab the car. They want to jump in with someone that them booked the trip. So, you got to be careful and you got to keep your head on the swivel and you got to make sure that you are picking up the right people. You know what I mean? Ignoring red flags. If you see something that is evidently not right, but yet you ignore it because you're only concerned about the money, that one trip could be detriment to you and your life. If you see red flags that don't add up, and cancel the trip immediately. That is it. Cancel the trip. It's not worth it. Okay? If you're wrong, you're wrong, but one thing for sure, if you're right, then your life is saved. Then any harm that could be caused to you was prevented. You know what I mean? So, another thing is getting boxed into a parking lot. You know what I'm saying? Like a parking lot, or, just getting boxed in. Like sometimes streets have a bunch of cars on both sides. And it's barely hard. It's kind of hard to get down. So you don't know who's hiding behind those cars. You don't know who's hiding behind those cars in parking lots, parking decks, and all that stuff like that. So you have to be aware of your surroundings, again, at all times. Keep your head on the swivel. Anything that don't look right, cancel the trip and pull off. Okay? Now, let's get to the number one mistake that Uber and Lyft drivers make at pickup. That number one mistake is having your doors unlocked. Your doors should never be unlocked. Your doors should be locked at all times, especially when you're out there driving Uber and Lyft. And when you get to a location and your doors is unlocked, you're putting yourself in harm's way because you don't know who's getting in that car. You know, it's a lot of time, and I know a lot of drivers have seen this, where a trip is being booked and you'll see one picture on the app, but then a totally different person get in the car. Some people just pull off and drive and drop them off. That is not the way to go. You know, if a person approaches the vehicle for one, when the person or people is approaching is approaching the car for a ride, you have your doors locked and you make sure you see who booked the trip, and you make sure that the person that is with them, you know, is verified as well. You know, hey, who is this person that you have with you? Because I only see one person. Oh, well, this is so and so and so. Okay, yeah, okay. That's plain simple as that. Don't be afraid. You introverted people and stuff like that. Open your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Open your mouth. I get it. A lot of people don't like to, I don't want to stir up, start no problems. But if you put people in your car and they are not the people that booked the trip, they could be somebody that's trying to do harm to you. You know what I mean? Or it could be somebody trying to hurt you, rob you, do anything. You know, that's why the number one mistake that Uber and Lyft drivers make is they keep their doors unlocked. Okay? Make sure that your doors is locked at all times. Somebody come to the car and open and grab the door to get in. If they're not the person, say, man, who is you? Oh, my mama booked this ride. I said, let me see your ID. And call the number. Go right into the phone and said, call the number attached to the trip. When the person get on the phone, say, yes, I'm here to pick up such and such and such, but an individual is standing right here. Oh, yes, that's my son. Can you verify his name? And if the person don't want to show their ID, then cancel the trip. If he pulls the ID out, non-hostile, none of that, then it's fine. But if he pulls the ID out, or she pulls the ID out and they got an attitude, cancel the trip. You're trying to stay safe. You don't give a damn about them being upset because you're trying to verify who's in the car. Because if a person do not book the trip getting in the car, you have to verify that individual. That could cost you. And I want to ask you drivers this. Has there ever been any situations on pickup where you've seen a bunch of red flags or something that just won't right and you had to cancel that trip? If you've ever experienced this, drop your situation in the comments and we're going to talk about it. But I just want to leave this video and talk about the number one mistake that Uber and Lyft drivers make on pickup, and that's keeping the doors unlocked. If them doors is locked, that is some safety. You understand? If you do things like maneuver the vehicle before you pick an individual up, don't allow yourself to be boxed into a dead-end street or into a parking lot where you can't visibly get a 360. You know what I'm saying? You're putting yourself at harm's way. You know? Someone's calling you, talking about, hey, you're at the wrong address. But the address that you're at is what's showing on the phone. Then you cancel that trip. It's not your fault that they put the wrong address in. It's their fault. You understand? You're best to pull off and let them call another Lyft or an Uber with the right address. Because that could be a situation where could really get you in some trouble. get you hurt or robbed or whatever. You know what I mean? Um, so I promised you all, if you all stay to pretty much the end of this video, that I would give you some tips that I've used over the years that have kept me safe. Okay. If there's one rider, okay, never let that rider sit behind you. A lot of younger people, when they come to the vehicle, they will get on the driver's side to sit behind the driver. You can't see them. Tell them, say, hey, man, get on that side over there, so you can get them with your peripheral vision. You understand? If they don't want to ride on that side of the car, if it's one rider, cancel the trip. Number 2, don't let them ride in the front seat. If it's one rider, don't let them ride in the front seat. So my advice is, before, push your passenger seat all the way up. You understand? Just lean it up. Just push it up and lean it forward a little bit. Not too much, just lean it forward a little bit. So if there's one passenger, let them sit on your side. If there's 2 passengers, it's fine to let them sit in the back, as long as you got your peripheral vision is on one, and you got your mirror so that you can see the other one. You know, it's kind of complicated when there's one rider and they're sitting behind the car. Sitting behind the driver's seat. Okay? It's your vehicle. You tell them where to sit at. They booked the trip. You say, hey, man, sit over there. Now, I don't allow nobody to sit behind me. Okay? Number 2, the most important thing in keeping yourself safe is making sure that you don't allow nobody to get in your car that has a gun on their side. And I'm going to tell you why. If somebody happens to get in the car, I don't give a damn if they're a cop. If they get in the car and they got a pistol holstered on their side, say, yeah, well, excuse me, man, with all due respect, I don't ride riders with weapons on their side. Oh, well, I have a license for it. Hey, man, as a driver, I can't carry a weapon. They don't allow me, they don't permit me to carry a weapon as a driver that's dealing with the public. So I feel unsafe riding you. I don't care if you're a cop. I don't care if you're licensed to carry. You see a weapon, say, excuse me, ma'am or sir, with all due respect, I'm canceling this trip. I don't give people rides that carry weapons, especially if you can see them. Now, if somebody got something in a bag or concealing it in their pocket and you can't see it, ain't nothing you can do about it, right? But you can't carry a weapon. The policies at Uber and Lyft is that the drivers cannot carry weapons, even if they're licensed. If something happens and you have to protect yourself, you're suspended from the platform permanently. And that is the truth. So if you cannot carry a weapon as the driver, why would you allow somebody to get in your car that has a weapon? I don't care if there is a cop, security guard, bounty hunter, whatever. I don't care. Let me give y'all a little story before I get off this video today. So this is about safety, okay? So one evening, about, I want to say, it was the time of the year where it got dark early. And my day hadn't been so good. So I was like, well, let me see if I can drive for a couple more hours to see if I could get pretty decent rides or whatnot. Now, I'm a street savvy dude. I know how to keep my head on a swivel. I know how to think. I think like a criminal. Because at one point in my life, that was who I was. So I know what the lineup looked like. I knows what I know what the setup looked like. That's what you call lineup. I always keep my head on a swivel. I drive behind me more than I do in the front of me. That's what people that were criminals in the past, that's where they were trained. That's what you have to do. Okay? So I get a ride. I accept a ride. And I get to the location and I'm sitting there waiting, and I'm thinking 2 minutes gone by. What if something like, damn, that was dead. So I'm looking around, I don't see nobody. Okay. I noticed when I entered the neighborhood that there was somebody on a bicycle. I thought it was a kid. It was like a teenager or something like that. Didn't think none of it because the neighborhood was a pretty decent neighborhood. So it wasn't the hood. So I didn't think none of it. So then I'm sitting there. The timer is about to expire. I get a phone call. Hey, man, where you at? Man, I mean, I'm standing right here waiting on you. Where you at? I said, man, I'm right here at such and such address where the map took me to. This is the address that was put in the map to get picked up. No, man, that ain't right, man. That ain't right. I'm on the other street. I said, you on the other street? Well, how did this address? I don't know. It always do that sometimes. So I said, look here, man. I said, I'm not going to come to another street to pick you up. I'm going by what's on the app. It's dark out here, and I don't know what's going on around in this neighborhood. Oh, man, ain't nobody trying to do nothing to you. This, that, and the third. So I hung the phone up. I pulled it out of the street. As I'm pulling out the street, I see the same bicycle. I see the same dude on the bicycle. This time he got a hood on. The hood look like them been tied all the way up like this. So as I see him, I'm focused on him. I see two more dudes standing across the street and one running down the street. So, and I see one running down the street. So I'm like, man, now I'm going to be honest with you. I had the burner with me. So I reached right there where I had the burner at. And I knocked it off safety. Right? And as I'm pulling out of the neighborhood, one of the dudes tried to get in front of the car. So when the dude tried to get in front of the car, whatever, it seemed like he was trying to reach for something. Right? You understand what I'm saying? So I raised that motherfucking fire. I raised it. When I raised that fire, he jumped back and he said, I heard him say to the other ones, yo, dude got a gun. I got out the neighborhood. Right? And I said to myself, ain't this a bitch? Now, I'm going to tell you, I was mad. And as a street dude, I don't play the lineup game. Did I want to turn around and go back and air that motherfucker out? Yeah, I did. Because I ain't no pussy. But also, I did not want to make a mistake because they look like young kids and I could have killed one of them. They out there being mischievous. but I also wanted to walk away with my life too. So I had to make an informed decision not to allow my anger and that street uh in mentality to turn me back around and go back down there and bust at their ass, right? I went on about my business and I said to myself, now if I wouldn't have been aware of my surroundings, and if I wouldn't have followed the rules that I set for myself to make sure that I stay safe, such as keeping my doors locked, such as if that person is not at the address that's in the app to cancel the trip, I would have been got. I would have been got. There's no guarantee that they wouldn't have shot me, killed me, whatever. They was trying to do bodily harm, and it was a bunch of young dudes. You see what I'm saying? And that was because I kept my head on the swivel. And I assessed the neighborhood when I got in there. You understand what I'm saying? So people, I just wanted to leave this story, and I wanted to talk to you all about the number one safety mistake that Uber and Lyft drivers make, and that's having your doors unlocked. Hey man, you'd be surprised how something as small as keeping them doors locked can save your life. Hey, I wanted to leave this safety tip along with a little story and along with some tips and things to help you all stay safe out there, because I care about y'all. And also, I love y'all. You all have a wonderful day. I'm out.